This is a beautiful topic. This is something that we're going to talk about in a calm way, not so charged. I know I have a tendency, I can get like really enthusiastic and fired up, and it's kind of the locker room coach in me. And, there's a place for that. And I like that part of myself, to be honest, right? I need it for me, so I share it with others. But there's this other place where we're definitely more grounded and we're more calm. And maybe sometimes by being that way, we're actually a little bit more aware and on our game. It comes and goes. It's a balancing act of being present. Executive presence in business, we call it, performance presence in sports. That ability to really be in the moment, in the now, where it all happens. It's all now. It's not then, it's not later, it's now. The future hasn't happened, you know that. The past is over, we hear that, but to live now. So we talk about how to do that. Again, a couple stories. The Last Dance that I mentioned in a few segments before this, that I had the great fortune of being Phil Jackson, the coach of the Bulls, who was the coach of The Last Dance, his guest in, I think it was 1996, whenever the Bulls won their 71 games, I was at the practice facility in Deerfield the day before that. And Phil had invited me. I met him. Long story I won't go into now, how I befriended him. And he invited me. I took a plane. I was still coaching at the junior college. And I took a plane by myself to Chicago, went to Deerfield, Illinois, where their practice facility was. And I watched the Bulls with, Michael and Scotty and Dennis Rodman and Steve Kerr and I think Judd Bushler and Tony Kukoc and all those guys that were on the TV show. I was there watching it. And Phil walks out, and I saw this it was really cool kind of to watch it, 20 some years later, knowing that I actually observed it, right? So Phil walked out, and the players were all messing around. They had been warming up, shooting around, and as he walked out, he didn't blow a whistle. He didn't, he did a thing with his fingers, that he would blow a whistle. He didn't do that. He just stood there, kind of just hanging, and the players slowly started circling around him in a circle. But they were still messing around, and there was a looseness and a casualness to them. And I remember one of the guys, they had, jock straps on, but one of the guys pulled the other guy's pants down, and he was just in his jock, and it was at his knees, and they all laughed. And a few guys, were goofing around, punching each other, just like kids playing. And Phil just stood there, and he was like watching the team, not saying anything, kind of laughing, but like being really, 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 really present. And I was there on a sabbatical to study leadership. That's why I went. I took half the year off, and I studied other great leaders in business and in sports. And Phil was one of them. And I was, again, like I said, very fortunate that I was a guest of his. And then slowly, you could hear a pin drop. There was no force. It just happened like organically, naturally. And then he gave instruction. I think he told Michael and Scotty to go in the weight room. And he told a few guys to shoot free throws, and then some other guys that probably don't play as much to get some scrimmage time or something. But I was really impressed at this ability that Phil had of dropping. So after practice, I waited around, and he came upstairs eventually. It took a while. I remember, oh gosh, I hope he remembers I'm here. And he finally came up, and we went into the team room and sat down. And he told me in this team room how he would, a couple times a month or whatever, he would have his guys come into the locker room. And it's kind of weird in 1996. Now it's more commonplace that coaches may do this. But back then it was cutting edge. It was revolutionary. Sports coaches, particularly NBA sports teams, didn't do this kind of stuff, right? And Phil would have his guys conspire together to breathe together, he called it, conspire, to breathe, because breathing was the one thing that they all had in common. And he would have them just like sink and settle in and close their eyes or whatever and just breathe together and not do anything with that. Just be present, be in the now, experience the group field, the energy that a team, a group of people create that's uniquely its own life. You know, you have your own and then two people and then the synergy and the combustion of that. And Phil was in touch with that. It was really cool. And, you know, people have said things, some people love him, some people criticize him. As far as I go, I really admire Phil Jackson because he had the courage to tap into some of this executive presence that, or this performance presence that most people didn't even know about. So, again, coming back to you, how are you with being able to be here now? I have things going on in my life that I could be preoccupied with. And, you know, I was dealing with some this morning and I'll deal with some this afternoon probably. But right now, it's my job and my responsibility and my privilege and my pleasure to be here with you. Even though I'm looking at a dot in a camera, I know you're listening. So I feel you, I feel connected to you. And that's on me. That's on me to be present. And it's on you. There's no one that can do it for you. Just like no one can digest your food. They can give you food. They can lend you money or buy you food or whatever, but they can't take it in and assimilate it and digest it and have it transform into energy. Only you and your body and yourself can do that. And it's the same with this being here now. No one can do it for you. So you're all on your own on this one. It's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us to breathe, to be centered, to really, really enjoy the moment.